Hello, Michelle. How's it going today?
Hey, Lindsay. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Feeling good. I heard we were talking about cars today. Is that right?
We are. Lindsay, do you know a lot about cars?
Cars? No. I don't know anything about cars,
I don't know
Michelle.
anything.
No, I don't know
anything.
Yeah. Nope. Not my thing.
Not my interest, but people, many people really, really have this love for cars.
They really do. Yeah.
Yes, huge. So I'm excited. We're going to be starting actually a whole series. Today is going to be part 1, and I'm really looking forward to this. So we're going to have part 1 over here. Part 2 is actually going to be on our other show, the Business English Podcast. So go on over there and hit follow so you don't miss that episode. And then we're going to have part 3 back on All Ears English. So guys, get excited. And this whole series was inspired by a listener question. So we're going to get back to that in just a second. But we also wanted to share, because we have some Spotify poll results, right, Lindsay?
Yeah, we love this. Guys, every day we have a poll in Spotify, and sometimes we choose a key poll to go ahead and announce the results, right? Because we want to learn about you all as a community, the All Ears English audience. So the question we asked in this poll was, which kind of show or movie would you rather watch? Right? And Michelle, what were the results?
Well, also just to give the title of that episode, if you want to listen to it, it was How to Connect Over a Twist in a Movie. Okay. Really good episode. Check that one out. But yeah. Okay. So what kind of show or movie would you rather watch? The options were a comedy, a thriller, or a rom-com. And I was surprised by these results.
Yeah. I find this surprising because I actually thought thriller was kind of a small niche. I just didn't think as many people like thrillers as they do. So the results were 28% said comedy, 37% said thriller, and only 34% said rom-com. I figured it would be comedy first.
Same. I was really surprised. I did not think thriller would be the winner here. But I'm definitely comedy. Which one are you?
I like thrillers. Oh my gosh, I like them all. Rom-com. I'm rom-com. I love the old rom-coms from the 2000s. Yeah. I just love them. I'm such a softie.
There's a comfort feeling. Yeah.
There's a comfort there. A nostalgia for sure. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So guys, that's really fun to get to learn about all of you. And so today's question, starting off this series, is coming to us from YouTube. If you're not over on YouTube, that's another way you can consume this podcast. Lindsay and I are right now. You can actually see us talking about.
You can.
On YouTube. So go on over if you're interested in watching us, and you can also hit the subscribe button there. So could you read us the question, Lindsay?
Yeah, this question comes from Uzo Bazor 2500, and they asked, "Hi, your podcast is very good. I'm learning a lot of expressions from it. Could you please make podcasts about cars or stuff like that?" Oh, by the way, that reminds me, Michelle, we need to have an episode on and stuff like that. Expression.
Yes,
that'll be another day. That'll be another day, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a great question. I mean, what a broad topic to talk about cars, but there's so much there. We can't do it all in one episode. Even we could do more than this series, but we're going to give it a start over here. There's so much to say. So today, for part 1, what we're going to do is share how to connect with people over cars.
Yes.
Because this is a huge connection topic.
Huge.
So again, guys, hit follow so you don't miss any of this series. Hit follow here and on Business English. And stay tuned for the rest of them. But we're going to go through some questions right now, and we're going to talk through them that you can ask people to get them to talk about cars or driving.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note you can also connect with people over your lack of interest in cars. Like just last night, I was in someone's car. We went for dinner, and then we got a ride home from a friend, and she has a luxury car. It's like a BMW or a Mercedes, but it was a hand-me-down from a family member, right? And she said it was telling us a story about how it's crazy that she sees lots of people like like gesturing to her to talk about her car. Like at lights, she'll stop, and like usually it's like middle-aged men that will like roll down the window and try to talk to her, like nerdy people, and try to talk about her car, like pointing out aspects of her car, and she'll be like mortified and just try to like face
really
forward.
Funny. That's
it was a
really
funny story, and we connected over the fact that we don't care about cars or know much about cars. So
that's really funny.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go through this. Some things that you can ask. So the first one is, what kind of car do you have? So just asking them the type, and just be careful not to sound like you're bragging about your car. Fun fact, Dan and I actually have the same car.
You do?
And
That's
the same color.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen that in a family before.
Yes,
interesting.
It's his or hers. It's because he bought his. So my dad, when we lived in the city, we only used one car. I didn't have a car. And so he bought his car, and he got the same car that my dad had and the same color because he said it was good and we like that color. It's blue. And then when we moved to the suburbs, my parents were actually kind enough to gift us their car.
Beautiful.
So then we also got another blue one of the same kind.
So funny. Interesting.
So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
I've never seen that. I've seen that in families that like someone's adult like sister or brother with their family and their kids would have the same car as the other sibling and their family, but I've never seen a husband and wife having the same car before.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. Or you could say, what was your first car like? Now I think we do have to like preface this whole series, Michelle, and just talk about how big cars are in the US. I think our listeners know this already. It's not just the fact that we have so much highway in the US, so many miles of highway. It's also in our movies, right? I mean, think about the movie Grease. And I'm sure we could come up with a huge list of movies that kind of focus on the American obsession with
Furious.
Cars. Oh my gosh, there's so much here. So I just want to start that context out right here. Where cars really matter to people in the US. It's kind of like a second home for a lot of people, especially if you if you don't live in the city, or if you live in a place like Los Angeles. I feel like people often will sit in their cars a lot or spend a lot of time in their cars. It's just a huge deal.
Yeah,
Cars.
people take pride in their cars, but some people then don't know anything about cars, and it's just totally just a vehicle, and you just, So everybody's different, but it definitely in American culture, it's a huge thing.
Gosh. Because we just don't have the train infrastructure. I mean, we have Amtrak, but Amtrak is not that good. Sorry to say. It's just, it's nothing like the European rails or in Japan or Korea. So the default is just driving places.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Yeah.
So when you ask someone, what was your first car like? It really touches on this nostalgic aspect, right? It may cause people to tell a story of when they got their first car. Like when I got my first car, I said, I really want a pink or a purple car. And my parents are like, okay, that's not that easy to find.
No, that's
so
not.
Even to this day, my parents, if they see a pink or purple car, they'll send me a picture and say, here's your pink or purple car.
Yeah. The only one I see is like the makeup salespeople, but they paint the car pink. Yeah. That's it's true. My first car was a Volvo, 1984 Volvo, very old, even when I got it. And but I loved it. I would take it to the car wash every weekend, and I would wax it 3 times a year, and I would take really good care of it, even though it was not in great shape because it was so old. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all have
you ever named a car?
Oh yeah. My car had names in high school, and my friends' cars had names. We called my friend's car, it was so funny. My friend Christina in high school had a really ugly, boxy green van, and we would call it the Moldy Loaf because it looked like a moldy loaf of bread. And we still just this summer when I saw her at my mom's funeral, we talked about that. So that was a connection moment. Aww. We remembered what we called her car in high school, and we laughed about it.
Loaf. That is hilarious. Yeah. So again, look, I mean, these bring back about real memories. I mean,
totally.
So this is really, really a huge connection topic. Another question you could just ask someone is just more about driving in general. Do you like to drive, or are you a distance driver? Now, what does that mean?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I've ever asked anyone this. Are you a distance driver? Like, do you drive long distances or do you have a long commute? Is that really what we're asking here?
Well, a distance driver, and my understanding of it is like someone who, like, okay, so for example, my parents go from Maryland to Florida every winter, but my dad has zero patience for driving long distances. I mean, my dad can drive like 2 hours before he stops. And then some people we know will drive that whole drive. I mean, what is it? 18 hours? I don't know, like one go. So that like that would be like a distance driver as far as I understand it. So like, are you someone, Lindsay, if you have a long road trip, I mean, you had a huge road trip. If you had a long way to go, like how long can you drive before you're like, I need to stay at a hotel?
Really, I've driven across the country 4 or 5 times across the US, and we just took a trip from Denver to Los Angeles. It was, I guess, like 8. I want to say it was like, I think 18 hours, maybe. Wow. Not exactly sure. It took a day and a half. But I actually enjoy road trips. We stayed overnight in Utah and New Mexico. But yeah, I actually enjoy it. I love being on the road, especially in the American West. I mean, this is what we built our entire course, Connected Communicator, based on, a road trip, because it's so American. It's just so nostalgic. I don't know. I just love it. I think it's I mean, not for every trip. I will fly sometimes, but I think it's a unique experience sometimes.
Yeah. I gotta take a big road trip one day.
You should. Yeah. For sure.
It'd be fun.
Okay. So what else could you ask someone if you just want to get a conversation going about driving, especially in a place that has a lot of driving like the US?
Well, this is a fun one. Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Yeah. Have you, Michelle?
I got a warning once in high school, and then just recently did I not tell you this?
I might have heard this before.
I think I did. I got a ticket for going too slow.
Going too slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told us that.
Because I was in the left lane, and apparently you're not supposed to do that in the left lane, and I was going too slow for that, and I couldn't believe it. I was shocked because I thought I was going too fast, and I was driving around my daughter to get her to take a nap, and I got pulled over, and the police officer was like talked to me like I had done something really bad.
Interesting.
And he's like, do you know that you were going 10 to 15 miles below the speed limit? And I was shocked. I thought, and oh man, so that's my new claim to fame.
Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Have you ever gotten one?
Never, shockingly. I don't drive that much now. I drove a lot in high school, maybe college, but I don't we share a car between my partner and I, so I don't end up driving that much. But I will say that like left lane is very contested, right? So in the West, on the Northeast, I feel like people drive in the left lane because you have these 2-lane highways, like double lanes.
Yeah.
And they'll drive in the left lane, but in the West, you shouldn't drive in the left lane. It's just a passing lane, or it's a fast lane. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yes, it should be, but that's not what I used it for. So that's why I got in trouble.
That's not what that's funny.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. So what else can we ask here?
All right, we're going to do one more fun question. So how much is gas in your area? Because that's a big connection topic too, because people are always comparing gas prices. That's a huge conversation topic as well, right? So people might actually be talking about, or like if somebody's visiting you. So sometimes my parents, if they're visiting me, they'll say, oh, I saw that gas was so much cheaper in this, you know, things like that. So that is definitely a huge topic, is gas prices.
Yes, absolutely. This is always talked about. Right now it's pretty high in the US and might change, might go up, might go down. Going to California and you look at the gas prices will blow your mind, right? Compared to the rest of the US. It might be high in New Jersey, New York as well, or equally high. I don't know. And the other thing that's weird is in certain states, you're not allowed to pump your own gas. And I always thought that was really weird. Like in New Jersey. Is that still true?
New Jersey. Yeah. So I always thought whenever I heard about New Jersey where you can't pump your own gas, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. I'm like,
me
come
too.
on.
Yeah.
Okay, but I cannot tell you what a luxury it is. I absolutely love that.
Are you expected to tip, or these days, how does that work? Is there tipping going on, or what?
No, there's not tipping.
Interesting.
I mean, you just go. I mean, so think about when it's cold outside and,
That's
you know,
true.
it's
Yeah.
so nice. And I have my kids in the car, and what's funny is my daughter. One time we went to get gas, and I rolled down the window to tell the guy, you know, how to fill it up. And she just yells out the window, "Fill it up regular, please."
That's so cute. Oh my God. I love
like
that.
very
That's
cute.
adorable.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so
I know.
cute. Oh, so funny. Well, this is a really important thing for our listeners to know. I'm not sure which other states are.
I think there might be one more,
one or
but
two
I'm
others.
not sure.
It's pretty rare. But yeah, what? So you would say like fill it up. But I think when I was a kid, I remember that you could have the full service option at many gas stations, or you could have the self-service option. But I think the full meaning someone would pump it for you. I think that's gone away in a lot of states. So most of the time you're just getting out of the car, no matter what the weather is, and pumping your own gas.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's funny then because, you know, kids who grow up in New Jersey, they don't know how to pump their own gas. And so I grew up in Maryland. So I always knew. And it was just so funny for me in the beginning when dating Dan, I'd be like, wait, you don't know what? Like,
did you like roll into gas stations where it was self-service and start saying to people, fill it up regular, please?
Yeah, no. So it was a funny way to tease him because he didn't know how to do it. So
that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Another fun, that is definitely a fun topic. And then of course we already touched on this one was, do you know a lot about cars? Right. So we already kind of touched about this, but Lindsay, I mean, any other ways that you like to connect with people about this?
I mean, you can talk about your first driving test. So it's a big milestone in the US when you turn 16, your sweet 16 birthday. That is when you get your driver's test. In most states, sometimes certain states are a little different. Most states, 16 is when you take your driver's test. And when I was a kid, everyone did it on that day. They did it on their birthday. They were ready. They wanted their license. But nowadays, things are really changing. Like, I think from what I've heard, Gen Zers don't want to drive. Like, it's not a thing. So things are changing a lot. But in our generation, we were all about getting that independence, right?
Yeah. Yes,
so you could talk about your driver's tests. Did you have to parallel park? That's another thing that will come up a lot, right?
Oh my gosh, this is just like a never-ending connection topic.
Huge connection topic. Yeah.
So we could have made this a 10-part series, honestly. Yeah. And, you know, one day we'll revisit it again and get into all of this. But yeah, for today, we're giving you a start on some of the basic ones. So, I mean, again, it's not that you need to be a mechanic or a car expert or a car enthusiast. It's just about, these are just day-to-day topics to connect with pretty much anyone over.
And pretty much, and I would say specifically Americans. So I don't know how I mean, I can't say the same thing necessarily in England or Australia. I don't really know if they have as much of a car culture. I don't think so. So this is kind of unique knowledge to American culture, how to connect with an American between the ages of like 30 and, you know, and 60, 70. But really good stuff. So let's do a role play, Michelle, and then we'll jump off the mic. All right.
Okay. So here we are. We are new friends, and I just pulled up to a restaurant to meet you, and I saw your and you saw my car.
Okay, here we go. Wow, nice wheels. Love the color.
Oh, thanks. What kind of car do you have?
I have a Chevy. Do you know a lot about cars?
I know nothing. I just care about the color, to be honest. For my first car, I tried so hard to find a purple one.
That's too funny.
Yeah. What was your first car like?
It was a station wagon. It was so old, but I actually have a lot of positive memories of it. Driving to high school, going out with friends, all that, even speeding tickets.
Oh boy.
Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Just two, but honestly, I don't drive that much. Do you like to drive?
Oh, I love driving.
Oh, okay. I don't love it. Also, gas is so expensive.
Yeah. How much is gas in your area? Yeah, this is a very common, very typical conversation. You might take any one of these threads in a deeper, right?
Yep.
Or you might just keep bouncing around from thread to thread, and that is natural conversation and connection right there. So let's just recap real quick what we said. So Michelle, I said nice wheels, which is another way of saying nice car. And you said, oh, thanks. What kind of car do you have? Right. So now we're talking about each other's cars, right?
Yep. And you said, I have a Chevy. Do you know a lot about cars?
Yeah. And Chevy, by the way, is Chevrolet. We call Chevrolet Chevy. I think our listeners probably know that, but just in case. And then you said you wanted a purple car. And I said, that's funny. And you said, yeah, what was your first car like? And now we're going down memory lane, which is always a good way to connect.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. So then you said you have a lot of positive memories of your station wagon, even speeding tickets. And then you said to me, have you ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket? And then you said you've gotten 2, but you don't really drive. And I said, do you like to drive? And it's nice here how what I like about the way we're having this conversation is we're flipping back to each other. Like we're not, neither one of us is talking too long, right? The other one's coming back to the other quickly to ask a follow-up question. That's really good.
That's true. And then I said, gas is so expensive. And you said, yes. How much is gas in your area? And that's how we ended it.
Another great. And this could go into a topic on the economy, politics. I mean, there's so geopolitics. There's so much we could do here. Okay.
Yeah.
So it does open kind of a gateway to other connections here. Really good stuff. Michelle, any final takeaway?
Yeah, this has been a really fun one to talk about all of these topics with each other and share with you guys some ideas. Guys, listen out because again, next episode will be on over at the Business English podcast. So definitely hit follow on that so you don't miss it. And then look out for part 3 over here coming up after that.
All right. Can't wait to talk more car talk here. And there's also a funny show. There's also a funny radio show called Car Talk, and it's hosted by 2 Bostonians from the Cattack, right? With the accents. There's just so much about cars and American culture. So we've sort of scratched the surface today, Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to get to the other episodes. All right.
All right. This was fun, Lindsay. Thanks for chatting about this with me today. And everyone, thank you so much for listening.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.